Inside Hockey with Elliotte Friedman. Brought to you by Ford. Built for life in Canada.
54 years ago, that's when Al Arbour first appeared in the NHL, the glasses-wearing defenseman for Jack Adams' Detroit Red Wings.
He used to come in the dressing room, and he'd come over and throw oranges at you after a period. He'd come in and say, "You stink, you blind-eyed son of a bee," and he'd say, "Radar, cinemascope," and he'd throw oranges at you. I was on the ice maybe once, you know. That's how I got the name Radar.
Arbour won 3 Stanley Cups as a player, then got his first coaching job under Scott Bowman in St. Louis. After being fired there, he had a couple of choices before picking the Islanders.
Well, I had offers to coach in Vancouver, coach and general manager in Vancouver. And at that time, remember, they had 2 owners. And one guy said, "You can't fire this guy, you can't." The other guy would say, "Well, you can't fire that guy." Well, 2 different guys. I said, "This is not going to work, forget that." And so I went to the Islanders.
Your first training camp, what do you remember about that team?
I remember Jimmy Devellano was a chief scout then, and he invited about 120 players to training camp. And, you know, they were all from all over the place. And we were there about 4 days, and I said to Jimmy, I said, "You can send them all back home. None of them are going to make the team." And he says, "Al, I promised them a week." So I said, "Well, I don't know what we're going to do, but send them home. They're not going to make it." And he never did. Nobody made it.
None of those
guys made it out of that whole crew.
In this entire room, Al, is there one thing that is really particularly special to you?
I think the special is the 4 pictures of all the players. I think that's very special to me right there.
Pass right on the stick of Tonelli. Coming in with Nystrom. Tonelli to Nystrom. He scores! Bob Nystrom scores the goal. The Islanders win the Stanley Cup.
Well, Pat Quinn still says that goal was offside.
Well, I wouldn't say it was offside. I'm not answering that. I don't know.
Arbour stepped down in 1986. It gave him more time with wife Claire, whom he started dating in 1954 and married 1 year later. She was his first video coach.
Yes, I had to put down on paper at what point it was scored, where a penalty occurred, so that he could go on the machine and find out at what point to show the players, because the players would view them.
How was Claire as a video scout?
I refuse to answer that. I don't want to get in any problems.
But things didn't work out for New York under Terry Simpson, and the team asked him to return 2 years later.
Here they come, 2-on-1. Bullock shoots, scores! David Bullock, Islanders! And they'll be a new Stanley Cup champion in 1993.
One of the owners, they wanted to put David Bullock on waivers during the course of the season. I said, I wouldn't let him. I said, "There's no way. You're not putting David Bullock. If David Bullock is put on waivers, I'm quitting." So, and he scored the winning goal that night, and the first thing I told that owner is, "How do you like David Bullock now?"
Arbour considered that 1993 team to be very special because Pittsburgh was so much more talented. But one thing you learn when you research him, his players considered Arbour even more special.
I wanted to tell you something that one of your former players said about you. Kelly Rudy said to me, and this is a quote, "I have a father who was very good to me, but if I had to say who my second father was, it would be Al Arbour." How important is it to you to know that you made such an incredible impact on a lot of people's lives?
Well, I think it's very important because that's what a coach is all about. I mean, it's not so much winning and losing that counts. It's you're treating them boys. They're really boys at the time, and they're going to grow up to be men, and they are men now. And you know, their life is going to be controlled by what you do. And it's very important that you treat them the right way. I mean, you got to be tough on them and tough love. And I was very tough on all my players, and I certainly hope they realize that.
Inside Hockey. On Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Ford. Built for life in Canada.